If you were in your 50s, 60s, 70s, who is influencing you? Who's impacting you about living your extraordinary life from a social, cultural, technological, environmental, economic, political perspectives? It's a great question to ask yourself, but I think a more important question is who are you influencing and who are you impacting in your 50s, 60s, and 70s? I've been asking this question of myself around influence and impact. What's that story? What's going on with those two words? And so I dug into them and I created a video that explains influence and impact. And I'll put reference to it just above here, but also you'll find a link to it at the end as well. Influence is a short term, superficial, in the foreground kind of conversation that, for the most part, touches the head. Impact, however, is more long term. It's more heart centered, more substantial in what's taking place in your life. I would put forward you need both. I wanted to share with you today what I consider to be 8 dynamic reasons for guiding others with impact, not just influence. And I'm doing that because I want to give you a bit of a sense of what it's like to live legacy life, to really enhance it, for you to be in the forefront of what is happening in terms of influence and impact. Yeah, I understand, and we can probably look at more videos around who is influencing, who's impacting you. But today, I'm gifting you an opportunity to ask yourself, who are you influencing? Who are you impacting? And for what reasons? The first one that I brought out for myself is because of my own life situation. I'm a solo ager and I'm not with family. And therefore, this notion of connections, relationships with others, and I'm attempting to figure out how best to create that for myself. And I thought about how I might do that online. Do I create a community with all of what it is that I'm doing? Or do I tap into communities that are already in motion and or going to come to the foreground? And I've been doing a lot of exploration on the internet looking for online communities. Now, there are communities that you can jump into that are in your neighborhoods, in your cities, your towns. Just look around and find what might be of interest to you and get involved with them and see what kind of meaningful relationships you can create. Because they may inspire you as you might inspire them. And that's a really important way of looking at building these deeper connections. So I encourage you to get out there, take a look at what's going on, and give yourself a break. It may not just happen overnight that you'll find a community to join, but give yourself that room to move around. Maybe do a little slow walk around this and see what you come up with. The next thing is you could take a look at foster this long term change. How might you impact and influence it? Yeah, you have an opportunity because of your experience, where you've been, what you've done, that you can help to forge, frame, ignite this change that is coming for those in their 50s, 60s, and 70s, which will influence intergenerationally those who are younger. So you find yourself an older, there are youngers and there are elders. You are an older, and maybe you've been recognized by your community as an elder. That's great. So you have an opportunity to influence that change. But as an older, how might you help the youngers understand what's going to start taking place? the actions and mind shifts that are necessary to be able to live in the world that is unfolding before us. How to encourage lasting transformation that is health based and wealth based, and the combination of health and wealth with the heal and wheel into wealth, the WELL, the being well, this well living well being, and how they come together, and how you might be able to influence and impact those, and see what actually takes place for you. Another way is to take a look at this notion of authentic engagement. Engagement comes from the heart. If you use the word participation, I think of it coming from the head. And I, for one, and those that I have been having conversations with, when I make that distinction, they all say, yes, engagement. That's what it is that we want to get involved with, to have those genuine conversations with others. And I would add genuine collaborative conversations, is that you can bring your own ideas forward, but at the same time be cooperative with others and to bring that dynamic into the foreground for yourself. And just move beyond that sort of surface and get down into something that has a bit of substantial meat and potatoes to it, and the carrots and the stew, or just a plain vegetarian stew versus a meat stew. Just get down in there. What is it that you're cooking that you can invite others into? And to move past just transactions, look at transformation, transcendence. If those words are a little foreign to you, then give them a look up and see what might unfold for you if you use those words in the engagements that you're going to have with others. To inspire others' growth, inspire, to help others to breathe the spirit of this growth, about living this life that is extraordinary for them, and you're being of assistance, and therefore your life becomes extraordinary because of it. And to really, what I call, leverage your potential, bringing everything forward, the possibilities, the opportunities for the growth through this continuous improvement, continuous learning, ways in which to take actions, reflect on them, and bring all of that forward. Because really, isn't that what you've done over the course of your life? If you're in your 50s, 60s, 70s, of that 30, 40, 50 years that you have gone through, that you have that evidence, that education, those experiences that you can tap into. And what's important here is that they grab the oar, their oar of their boat, their journey. And if they're going to get in with you and you're going to mutually oar a boat, then understand that the O is for ownership, is that they own what it is that they contribute. Together, you can own what's taking place because of the accountability, responsibility that you both share in that shared boat. But at the same time, from an influence impact point of view, how do you help them grab the oar of their boat for their unique journey? That's important to help them understand that. This one I so appreciate because of the imagery of, throwing that stone into a pond and seeing that ripple effect. It's it's one of those images that's always stayed with me about how I influence and impact others, and how they influence and impact me, and how those ripples come together. What we're looking at here is that whatever you're sharing is going to resonate with them in their words, on their terms. So, what they do is they feel encouraged to then do the same as what you're doing, to influence and impact, and appreciate the influence and impact that's coming into their lives from you, others. And what you're doing is you're helping them to develop their education approach, that in itself can be of great, great importance to access all of these insights, investigations, interpretations that are out there now to help us live our extraordinary life, to live legacy life. We all need to help each other. And that's why this ripple effect in the pond is so important, that looking at how we are helping each other, what I will call organically, right? Rather than it being forced in, it's just naturally happening because of who we are and being for the world with the planet from the whole. Vision is a way of looking at what it is that I see for what it is that my life will unfold. And as we have conversations with others, you can have a shared vision of what we can do together. What do we see unfolding? And to be able to bring that into our present so that what we can do is advance that vision, amplify that vision for the good of ourselves, the good of the communities, the good of the planet. Other words that I would add here is collaboration, that collaborative conversations that I mentioned earlier, that common purpose and weaving that together and truly understanding what that's about. Because you have your purpose, that other person has their purpose. Together, what you're doing is you're creating a sense of a mission together that's based on the vision. And the mission here that you're taking is I have my individual purpose, bring them together into a mission, is that you start to understand what's missing out there that you can improve, focus, and strengthen together that will be of benefit to all, not only yourselves, the pair or the group, but the community as a whole, the world as a whole. There is something to be said for that alignment, that walking together. And I would encourage you to take a look at that. Now, this one is lead by example. There's been many persons that I've met along the way. I call them mentors who have led by example, given me insights to live my life at that point in time. And I've had the pleasure of meeting lots of them around the world. Some of them for very short minutes, some for longer times, and working on projects together, and their guidance has been fabulous. And I would encourage you to think about, okay, who can I tap into? Who would lead by example for me? But how do you serve as someone who is an example that can lead, can mentor others, help others celebrate what's going on, navigate what's taking place, weave together the ideas necessary to live this extraordinary life that we have? And therefore, what you're doing is you're helping them to tap into this leadership. There is this way of leading to lead persons from safer practices. And I put safer in here because of the importance of felt safety, is that from a physical, mental, emotional, soul, spiritual perspective, is that you feel safe in what it is that you are contributing, what it is that you are doing. And if you can have that felt safety in your own life, using safer practices and leading by example, that is going to help many, many persons. And that dynamic to get that into flow and community is such a beautiful contribution. Now, the last one that I would offer up is sort of a theme that's running through all of this work, this notion of leave a legacy. And legacy being about the useful what you gift others so that they can learn something from your experience. And the useful what's are time, effort, and money. And how you're leading by example in your use of time, effort, and money, the previous one, bringing it into legacy about the gifts that you're giving others, then what you're doing is you're providing the contributions, the stories, the projects. You could use the word like imprints there. You can use other words that are linked to the writings that you leave, the sculptures that you leave, the gardens that you leave, whatever it might be, that can help others to live their own positive, optimistic lives because of the legacy that you are living and you intend to leave. That's an important element here with legacy. It's about living the legacy you intend to leave. Enjoy it yourself. It's not something that happens later on as you're moving towards transition. It's happening now. Give yourself the opportunity to really benefit from living with that legacy. And that journey of sharing and then bringing the other seven reasons, dynamic reasons that have already been mentioned, and bringing all of those forward in terms of leaving a legacy that matters. Oh, it is such a glorious way in which to have fun with what you're doing now, find the freedom and fulfillment, right? To remain relevant, to age confidently, these kind of ways in which to be living legacy life. As you consider your influence impact story, of these 8 reasons, one of the ways to remember that what it is that was shared in the video is these action verbs that were put forward: focus, ensure, emphasize, consider, invite, demonstrate, encourage, guide. They're starting points. You could figure out what order you want to do it, build a story of what it is that you want to contribute, and what projects you want to work on using these action verbs. Race them, create your own, and go back into those 8 reasons, the videos, and find, is there other action verbs there that you may want to grab a hold of and use as you guide others with impact and rather than just influence. So bringing them both together and out there, but get into that impact. What you will find will make more sense for you from a simpler, deeper, better, wiser, kinder approach. If you can find a way in which to bring these 5 words into what it is that you're doing, these reasons to influence and impact, to impact others in their 50s, 60s, and 70s, then those reasons to influence and impact will serve you well in living your legacy life. Take care. The influence impact video that I mentioned earlier is here on the page. So click on it, and if you want to go a little bit deeper into this influence impact story. Also, the other video will continue you on your journey of living your legacy life, your unique journey for yourself and your adventures together.